All right.
Okay, it's all right. Please also tell him to continue to try. The host of this meeting, and then at the back end, we'll also see what he can do to bring him on. So I was to ask him to give an opening remark, but since he's not here yet, maybe in the course.
He just called now that he was not able to connect.
Okay, so we'll see what we can do from the back end to bring him in.
All right.
Please, participants, you may pardon me as we will not be able to have his opening remarks for now. I think we'll get to have him speak to us in due course. But for now, I want to say that let's go into the lecture, and we are looking at. Sorry, just a minute. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, sorry for that short break. So now I want to bring in the speaker for today's discussion. And may I also say that this meeting is also being live streamed. So we can also join us on YouTube. And for some of our members that may not be able to connect, probably due to lack of enough capacity to accommodate beyond a certain limit, they may also join us on YouTube. Please, please put on our platforms, and then for those you may also have direct contact with, you may also tell them that, and the link is already on the platform, so they can join us via YouTube. We are also live streaming. So today we will be talking about the new tax reform, and this is a tax regime that's going to become effective. The act has been signed to law as far back as June this year, but it's going to take full effect, by January the 1st, 2026. And as I said earlier, that we cannot afford to be caught napping. So we need to begin to see how what are the expectations of government from us, what are the things needed for us to do our own housekeeping, and then are there reliefs, are there in the new tax regime, is it a burden to us? So these are the things that we'll be doing an exposition on today. And as I said, the speaker is ready. So he is by name Oluwadare Abaton. Oluwadare Abaton. So he is a highly accomplished and seasoned professional accountant with extensive expertise in financial reporting, financial management, and tax expertise. He has special bias in tax audit and investigation, tax advisory, tax dispute resolutions, and statutory compliance. He currently serves as the group head, tax accounting and reporting at Cyberspace Group. Oluwadare holds a Master's of Business Administration, that's an MBA degree, and is currently pursuing a PhD in Business Administration from Ajayi Crowther University. And this has properly placed him to be able to demonstrate his commitment to academic excellence and professional development. He's an associate of the Institute of Taxation in Nigeria, and then showcasing his expertise in tax matters. So I present to you, distinguished colleagues, senior colleagues, a seasoned tax auditor, a seasoned accountant, and somebody who is also good in business administration. So please join me as I welcome Oluwadamilare Abaton. Please, a round of applause for him as he mounts the podium. And I think his slides are ready to be shared. So please, host, can you help share the screen, or you can share the slides as if you have them. Thank you. So please, you have the floor, Mr. Abaton.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Please, can you confirm you can hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Good evening, sir. We can
Very
hear
well.
you.
Very well.
Thank you so much. It's so a wonderful opportunity to be here this very evening. And I want to say a very big thank you to this professional body for the privilege to come and have this discussion with you this very evening. And also, I want to sincerely appreciate the comrade in person of Mr. Gbolahan Kabio. I want to believe I'm partially correct. And also, I want to say a very big thank you to the moderator of this very program. I want to believe that this class, this very meeting, is going to be a very interesting class. All I just want from us is to please assist as the lecture is going on. Let's start putting our questions together, and I'm hoping that with the limited time we have, the class is going to be a very interesting one. So I would like to share my screen. Please, let's confirm. So please, I don't know why. It seems I'm not permitted to share my screen, please.
You can share your screen. You have permission to share your screen, sir.
So, host, you also have the slides. If you can help share from the back end,
Yes,
it will be appreciated.
Okay, I'm trying to download it.
Okay, please, I'm trying to do that. I'm still confused why I'm not permitted. Okay, can we confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, you can see your screen, sir.
So can you just tell me what you can see on my screen, please, so that I can move on?
Your slide. Your slide is showing.
Okay, you can now see my
yes. Burden or relief to the private medical laboratory scientists.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. So I would then like to...
The slide is showing.
Excuse me? Can I go on, please?
Go on.
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, okay. All right. Thank you. So like I said, this very evening, we are all aware of the current tax law in Nigeria. We know effective from when we have the new president, even for some of us that can recall, we can see that right from the swearing inauguration, we've been hearing that the president have said, let the poor breathe. And we can also see from then that one of the things that brought about that, he also mentioned about tax, how we are going to look into the tax reform. And in the 2023 precisely, there was a committee that was set up, which was being headed by Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. He was being appointed as the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform. And that was basically done in July 2023, and along with some of the committee members. And since then, the committee have been working very tirelessly to ensure that a new tax reform is being bring into action in order to enable the citizen to have a very good, smooth business running, and also to enhance people in business, in the sense that to encourage small businesses, encourage economic growth, and some other um, beneficiary to come into businesses. And this evening, we'll be focusing more on the medical part of it, just like the topic that we'll be talking about says, Nigerian tax reform, is it a burden or a relief to private medical laboratory scientists? And we have an outline that we will be examining this very evening. And the first of it is we'll be looking at the Nigerian tax reform briefly. We'll look at who, according to the law, who are being referred to as private medical laboratory scientists. Then we'll look at the taxation framework as being relevant to the private medical laboratory scientists. And also, we are going to be briefly also looking at the benefits of the tax reform 2025 to private medical lab scientists. And when we are looking at the benefit, we'll be looking at it briefly from the part of the limited company and the business name. Thus, we'll be looking at it from the perspective of the sole proprietorship enterprises or limited liability company. Then also, we'll also be looking at it from, we'll also be looking at the potential bodies. Is there any potential bodies, and what are likely challenges that we'll have in this new tax reform? And also as well, we'll be considering the strategic recommendation that needs to be put in place. And also we'll conclude with this very question: is it a relief or is a burden? If you can hear me, can you just drop a letter A on the chat box to be sure we are together? Okay, are we together?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. You can go ahead, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Okay, so the first one we'll be looking at, the first one we'll be looking at is the overview and the context. Like I said earlier, the Nigerian Tax Act 2025 was being signed into law on June 26, 2025, and it is expected to take effect from January 2026. And the aim of this tax act, the new tax reform, is basically to simplify tax compliance, broaden the tax base, and also boost government revenue. And in the new tax law, without further wasting much of our time, we have some major aspects of the new tax law. And the first aspect of it talks about tax exemption for small business. So small businesses owner are fully exempt from paying income tax. They are fully exempt from paying income tax. When we go further, we'll further discuss on this. Then low income earner are exempted. That is to say, workers earning below or earning 800,000 or less per annum are exempted from paying tax. And also in the new tax reform, the high income earners, so under the law, individuals that are earning 50 million and above will now pay a tax on personal income that will be charged at the rate of 25%. And another thing is also that in the new tax reform, VAT exemption on essential commodities. So we have essential items like food, medical service, pharmaceutical, school fees, electricity, and some other essential goods have been exempted from VAT. And one of the reasons why government is also doing this is to ensure that people are living a well-being life. Before now, people are complaining things are cost, life is so hard, things are so difficult here and there, even in terms of medical. Sometimes people feel very, very difficult to go to the hospital, complaining about the bills and some other factors. So with this, what government are saying is that we are taking away VAT from all these items so that it can reduce their cost of operation. And also the development levy. The purpose of the development levy was, before now we have a lot of taxes which are more of related to incorporated company, whereby you have education tax, you have NITIDA, you have tech fund, and so many other taxes. So at the end of the day, you have a lot of taxes. So what they have done now is to harmonize the tax. And so instead of paying all those individual tax, then you now pay 4% development levy. And also no tax ache, because there was a kind of controversy before now that was happening. The initial intention when the president of the fiscal policy committee was talking then, so the proposal was to increase VAT to 12.5, then reduce CIT to 25%. But as it is now in the new law, no increase, no decrease. So the VAT still remain at the rate of 7.5, while the income tax remain at 30%. And also to codified e-invoicing and digital compliance. And I think this is one of the areas that we also need to look critically this evening. So the new law also mandates that all VAT registered businesses must adopt the NRS e-invoicing and real-time VAT reporting system. And this is significantly increase digital compliance and transparency. So I know there is a lot of questions that might be going on in our hearts, in our mind right away. Okay, I'm not a VATable company, so how does this concern me? So we'll get to know better about that. So please, let's confirm we are together.
Yeah.
Are we together, please?
We have done
Yes,
that
sir.
already. Yes.
Okay. All right.
We are together, sir.
Okay, so I need to also confirm that. Thank you so much. So according to the new law, who are private medical laboratory scientists? So they are licensed scientists who run private diagnostic lab and provide laboratory services to clinic, hospitals, and patients. That's how the law categorize them. And they often structure as sole proprietorship, partnership, or small business medium companies with variable staffing and equipment investment. And it is being recognized that the major means of their income generation is from diagnostic and test field, consultation, interpretation of charges, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now I want to also take us to look into the taxation framework relevant to private medical lab scientists. Now, in the new Nigerian Tax Act, the taxation framework provide framework for the private medical library involve personal income tax, company income tax if corporated, withholding tax, and exemption from value added tax. And also we have taxes applicable to private medical laboratory scientists, depending on the structure of the business and the category of the business. So we have personal income tax applied to income of individual, including self-employed medical laboratory scientists. The rates are progressive. Before now, the rate is usually regressive, whereby you see people that earn higher even benefit more than people that earn lower. So, but as it is now on progressive rates based on income level and state of residence. So now, what is also looking at is that as a private medical lab scientist that falls on that small business. It is expected of you in this new law that you should be doing your self-assessment. That is to say, you compute your own tax, examine your own book, and then ensure that you file and pay the expected liability based on the assessment you have done to yourself. So it is very, very mandatory that you need to do that. And also for you to do that, you have some consolidated relief allowances, which you can claim alongside while you are doing that. Now, if is a company income, if it's a limited company, or probably you exceeded the threshold for threshold of your, or you are above threshold of 100 million, you are expected that you are going to pay CIT, that's company income tax, on your profits if you are registered as a limited company. And then also withholding tax is expected to be deducted from your money if you register as a limited liability company. But for small businesses, you are not to pay withholding tax. They are not to deduct withholding tax from your payments if you fall within the threshold of 0 to 100 million. But immediately you are above that threshold, you have to be charged withholding tax. And another thing is that you have access to, you are exempted from VAT. Yes, you are not to pay VAT because you are part of what has been listed on the new tax act. So you are not to pay VAT. You have 0 VAT payments. Now, are private medical lab scientists required to pay tax? Now, these are a lot of questions that have been going on here and there. Tax liability depends on structure or size. Like I said, it depends on the size of the business. Now, if you fall in between 0 revenue to 100 or 100 million, equal 100 million, or you are lesser than 100 million, you are what? You are a small company. And also note this, aside the revenue, your fixed assets it shouldn't exceed 250 million. So if you fall in between these two, then you are definitely being categorized as a small company. You are not entitled to CITF. But I would like to do a clarification here. If you are a small business and you did not exceed the 100 million, you are not entitled to CIT if you are a limited liability company. But if you are not a limited liability company, if you are a sole proprietorship or you are an enterprise, depending on the structure, I keep using the word structure, you are not expected to pay CIT, but you are expected to pay personal income tax, which means that your income will be taxed. Okay, so now, before now, we have personal income tax rates of, currently we are using, this is, I believe we can see my table. This is what we use, even right as at today, in our current income tax. So you can see the changes there. So before now, if you are earning 300,
I want to know if this record, if this class is recorded, so that I would like to have the record of less busy period. Thank you.
can I go on, sir?
Yes, you can go on, sir. I was asking
Okay.
to know if you recording this message so that I can go back again to revisit it after this.
Okay, it's fine, sir, no problem. So the current personal income tax table that we are using before now until 31st of December 2025. So I believe we can see it from the screen that is being shared. So you can see that from the first one, you have 300 and it's at the rate of 700. So if you divide 300 divided by 12, you can see that most people will be paying income tax. on their, which means that people that are even earning above 40,000, 30,000 and thereabout, they will be paying income tax on the current law. But the new tax laws has make it more easier and make it convenient even for low personal income, low income earner, even the middle income earner as well. You can see that it has been increased, even as we are earning currently maybe around 100,000 monthly now. I mean, your income 100,000 monthly, you are not going to pay tax, because aside the 800,000 you are seeing here, there are also other benefits that will be considered in your before the tax can be deducted. It talks about if you have life insurance premium, maybe you took a loan from mortgage bank, on the interest of the loan you took, is a relief for you. So it is expected that all these things, even if you are contributing, aside the fact that you are taking loan from mortgage bank, if you also contribute to National Housing Fund, maybe you are doing a voluntary contribution to them, that very portion of the amount of money you are contributing to them is also a tax relief for you, irrespective of the amounts. You can also use it. And also, if you are registered for pension, you also benefit a kind of a relief. Okay, because of our time, I'll briefly want to talk about this. For medium and large companies, like I said, the incorporated company, there is no two-way side about it. As long as your revenue exceed 100 million, you are automatically liable for 30% CIT and also 4% development levy, and is strictly compliant. Now, the tax reform, we have some benefits that as a private laboratory scientist, you are going to benefit from it. And the first one of it is that you are zero rated VAT coverage. Yes. So you don't have to pay VAT. You don't have to charge VAT. But the truth still remains that as a private lab scientist, there is no way you will not incur VAT. Let's say, for instance, you need to buy an equipment to be used, or yes, an equipment to be used, or you needed to purchase a material to be used. Don't forget that most of this material, the companies that are charging you, they are VATable. So definitely they are going to charge you VAT on their invoice. So what this means is that if you have a good record, you keep a good record, government is telling you that you can claim that refund on that equipment that you bought in doing your business, that you purchased in doing your business. You can claim a refund on it. But because you can't charge VAT on your own invoice, just like, for example, if I need to come to your hospital, maybe I get something from you or you provided a service for me, it is not expected of you to charge VAT. But the fact that you are buying, you are purchasing equipment, or you are purchasing material for your own use, the possibility that you're going to pay input VAT on those items is very high. But once you have your book well documented, government is telling you that you can claim back your money and this will be refunded to you. Another thing is that if you happen to fall in a small business part as a medical laboratory scientist, you are exempted from company income tax, even if you are a limited company. If you are a limited company, you will be exempted from tax if your revenue, let me use the word revenue, is below 100 million and your fixed assets is either 250 or below 250 million. And another opportunity, another benefit that you have in this tax reform is research and development deduction. So government is now giving a kind of opportunity, in the sense that you might have some research that you want to do that is going to add either value to your business, add value to the society, something that people are going to benefit. And this will basically work major more for maybe like technology companies and even the so-called medical practitioners. Is going to work more because there is possibility that you can do some kind of research. And government is saying that if you're able to do that research and you are able to prove those research and is adding value either to your business or to the society, then you can claim a kind of a relief on that, which means that imagine you have maybe like 5%, you can even have as much as 20%, 50%, because this is going to be investigated. They are going to investigate it, and as long as you present this case to the government, they are going to give you a relief on this, which you can also serve as a means of reducing the tax that you are supposed to pay. Another benefit to this body on this new tax reform is that before now, some of you will have been experiencing a situation whereby if you have a business entity, you can see that different tax body are coming to you. LIRS can come to you, that's Lagos State Internal Revenue. Ogun State Internal Revenue can come to you. Abuja FCT can come to you. Ibadan Oyo can come to you. You know, different tax body can come to you. But with this new tax reform, they are going to integrate like kind of integrate all the tax body in one structure. That is to say, there will only be one body. Though Lagos is still Lagos, Abuja is still Abuja, but you have a central code in such a way that irrespective of where you are, it's still representing you as an entity. Not that because you have something in Ogun State is coming to you, Abuja is no. Everything will be centralized. And another thing is the digital compliance. This digital compliance, some of us might have been hearing about this. We call it e-invoicing. Government is already introducing this. And what this does is that governments want to have access to your system. They want to have access to your sales. They want to have access to your revenue. They want to know how authentic and your invoices are. So it is expected, irrespective of the whether you are a small business or you are a limited company, irrespective of the threshold you fall into, you are going to integrate in that. And how is that a benefit to you? It's a benefit to you because once you are able to integrate and you are compliant, you are going to have a less stress when it comes to audit with any of the state governments. And now, what are the potential body? The potential body, the first one we have is increased compliance on cost and administrative body. I have to be honest with you, this e-invoicing of a thing, because the governments now are introducing the what's it called, merchant buyer solution for transactional, which we call it MBS. I've also worked with some companies that have commenced in the integration on this, and I can tell you that it involves a lot of cash. So it's going to be a kind of a burden on you for the initial stage, because you are going to subscribe into the e-invoicing in real time. And some people are saying, I fall into small business. Fine, you fall into small business, but the law does not state that a small business should not migrate into this. Whether you are small business, you are big business, irrespective of where you fall into, you are expected to subscribe, to integrate into this. And the FIRS has also released about 16 names of integrators that can provide these services. So you might need to do that. And what that also means, one of the reasons why you also need to do this and failure to do it might also affect you in the sense that it is now expected that any company that you want to transact with are expected to be compliant. So let's say, for instance, now you want to buy an equipment from Oluwadare, and Oluwadare is supplying you that equipment. It is expected for that I, Oluwadare, I need to have been.
But ṣé òun ò lè sọ fún pé kó máa mú cable ni?
So I have to be compliant as Oluwadare before you can transact with me. So if I am not compliant, any invoice I issue to you that does not go through the FIRS portal, through the APP, access point provider, and you have that, and then the invoice is being given to you without going through that access point provider service, if you might not be able to claim the input VAT on that. So that is one of the benefits of it. So which means that you also need to be very mindful. You need to comply, then also your suppliers or your vendors also needs to be compliant. So this is going to cost you money, it's going to cost you capital to initiate this. And another thing is, as it is now, businesses now require to employ skillful and knowledgeable, competent staff for compliance purpose. I was discussing with some members of FIRS of recent, that Federal Inland Revenue, and we also discovered that most of the people that FIRS are now employing now, they are people, they are professionals. They are not just employing anyhow people, they are professionals. And what they are there to do is to ensure that you are strictly compliant. So any loophole they see is not about, no. So anything they see, they are going to capitalize on it. And if care is not taken, you might be exposed. So at this point, you need to have a staff. If you are a limited company, it's required. If you are sole proprietor, it's also required. You have knowledgeable people that are experts that will work with you. And another thing that I may see as a body based on the new tax reform is that don't be surprised that we have a lot of small businesses around now that doesn't even have the tax identification number and don't even file their annual returns on time. Some file, they don't file on time. Some don't even file at all. So as it is currently, it is mandatory that every business has tax identification and also file their return irrespective of their status. And also, it's going to be another thing that might be a challenge or a burden as a small business. If you fall into this category, or maybe as a limited liability company, you now need to maintain an accurate financial record and documentation, if possible. I won't even say if possible. Also, you need to have a tax consultant. I would like to share this experience. I would like to share this very experience. I think it's something that needs to be shared on this gathering. I did some kind of I did some work. We did some audits with FIRS. Please, I don't know, maybe those I'm having some kind of a brief little distraction on that. Hello, please, can I go on, please?
Let's mute our mics, please. This is a solemn gathering. Let's mute our mics. Thank you.
Okay, so I have an audit that I currently did with someone, and when the person called me, I want to briefly emphasize on this maintaining accurate financial record. When the person called me, said he got a letter from state government and they charged him a liability of about 70 million. So I was like, how come? How can that be? How much is your turnover? I look at the turnover. I say, no, it shouldn't be. Okay, let's go through your bank statement. And when I got into the bank statement, lo and behold, I saw an inflow that came into that account about 45 million. And that inflow just stayed transfer. And I'm saying like ////. And during the audit, these guys told them that this 45 million is not an income. It's a money that somebody wants to use to buy a property that was sent into my account. Then I later sent that money to that person back. And the state government is saying that no, there is no way to justify this. So when I check it, when he told me and I checked the documents, within myself, I knew that for the sake of this meeting, I know that this is not proper. But within me, if I'm LIRS official, state government official as well, I am going to assume the same thing, that this very inflow is what? It's a revenue. Even though I know it's not a revenue, but I'm going to assume that it's a revenue. So if the person, immediately when the money comes, either the person that is sending the money will have also maybe give it a reasonable description, like something like, okay, for keep. You can just, as a business person, you might not really know what exactly to, but if that description just say for keep, so whosoever that sees, we know that, okay, it's just for this guy to keep. So it is also mandatory that for every inflows we are having in our bank's accounts, please, we need to ensure that we have a proper analysis for it. Not later, immediately is happening. The reason is because there are transactions that when it comes into your bank account, that very moment you know what they have. But after some few time, maybe like in 2 weeks, in a week, even the state government might not even come maybe in the next 2 to 3, 4, 5 years. So by the time they come, I don't even remember what those inflows are. So if care is not taken and you are unable to justify what the money is or what the inflows are, then don't be surprised that you might likely pay that liability that is charged on that inflow. So at this point, you need to have a good financial reporting standard. It's not necessary that you have to have something elaborate, but just make sure you have something. If you are a sole proprietor, or maybe you are an enterprise, or maybe a partnership, you need to ensure that you have a good financial reporting policy. And if you are a limited company, there is no way about it. You should know that you need to have a good financial record. There is no way you can even do that because your account will have been properly audited. So it's one of the burden or is one of the challenges that we need to see how we can tackle in order not to expose ourselves unnecessarily. And another thing is strictly enforcement and higher penalties. Before now, a lot of people do away with it, even the so-called small businesses or limited companies. Some people do away with it probably because they know how to buy their way. Like I used to tell people, I was telling some few staffs in my company a few days ago, I said, it will be more expensive not to be tax compliant now than to be compliant. Before, it used to be that it is more cheaper not to be compliant than to be compliant. But now it's going to be more expensive not to be compliant than being compliant. So which means that we need to be very, very mindful of all these obligations. So there's going to be a penalty for non-compliance. And according to the new law, it said that there is a significant increase. For example, failure to file your returns can lead to a penalty of 100,000 for the first month and 50,000 for each subsequent month for a small lag. And such penalty can severe financial below. New penalty is such as 5 million for filing for contradicting with the unregistered entity and have been introduced, putting more pressure on lab to ensure their suppliers and partners are fully compliant. And like I said, increased audits. Tax authority are expected to be more aggressive in this enforcement efforts. Yeah, they are more aggressive now. So we need to ensure is one of the challenges that we are likely to have. And because of our time, I'm going to rush so that I know there will be a lot of questions, which I also appreciate to answer more. Another one is strategic recommendation for these private medical lab scientists. One of it is, like I've mentioned earlier, enhanced technology and digital capability. Yes, you need to upgrade to compliant system. You need to invest. Like, for instance, if you have been using, permit me to say that you have been using a exercise book, you have been using hardcover notes to keep your record. I think at this point, you need to invest on digital technology. We have some software that you can use, and it's not just about using software. If you need to integrate all this, you also need to consider the new MBS, that's the merchant business system, the new invoicing platform that FIRS will be using. So you need to ensure that you register with with a certified digital financial management that will work along with the invoicing. We have sample of them. We have SAP, that's SAP. We have QuickBook. We have P3 and so on. So there are systems that you might need to integrate on, and also for you to integrate on this system, you will need a good connectivities internet. So I don't think we need to deliberate more on this. Another thing is you need to strengthen your financial planning and risk mitigation. Reframe your tax strategy. Yes, you need to, if you are a limited company, even though you fall in between that threshold of small business, it is still expected of you to have a good accountant, tax consultant that will help you to come up with a strategic tax reform in such a way that you'll be able to have a smooth activities. And another thing is that, like I have said earlier, because of our time, you need to maintain a meticulous record. You can't afford to handle your books anyhow, because like the moderator said earlier, an ignorance is not an excuse when it comes to tax. They expect 100% compliance. So any loopholes you have, it's an avenue for government to make more money on you, even if it shouldn't be. They don't assume. So you have to ensure that your record are properly kept. And also you need to set up, I said you should set up a tax risk register. So what I mean by tax risk register is that set a kind of a proactive way of monitoring your tax. You can have something that you design that you can be using it to track, to text your compliance and so on and so forth. Okay, so another one is ensure full compliance and education. So you can conduct periodic internal audits. And the essence of this is that whether you are a limited company, like I keep on saying, or you are an enterprise, or you are a sole proprietor, in any way you fall into, you don't need to wait until when it is time for government to pay you a visit and begin to audit your book. No. As a person, you have to be ensured that from time to time you audit yourself to show that, okay, am I actually paying the right tax? Okay, how is my compliance level? Do I have any other obligation that I'm exposed to that, okay, fine, I've not been able to pay it because of inflow, or because I need a more clarification on that. So you need to do time to time pre-audit, internal pre-audit. So you need it. It's very, very mandatory. And also, I will also say this is what we do even currently in the company that I work. We also budget for tax liability. Yes, there are tax liability that sometimes when you look at it, it looks so big. Fine, government have given you a rule whereby you can begin to make payments and plan for it. For instance, now, if you know that in the next 3 months, your tax liability is expected to be like within the range of 7 million, you can say, okay, fine. The first month, because sometimes the inflow is what people look at. You can say the first month, okay, let me keep 1 million. The second one, let me keep 3. Before you know what's going on, you've already budgeted for it. And when the quarterly time comes for you to pay, you can easily have access to have that money to pay. And at the same time, you also need to invest in your staff. If you have staff, you need to train them. mistake from staffs can lead to outrageous liability. So you have to ensure that all your all your staffs, they are properly trained and educate them, both your finance staffs and your administrative staff. Let them know little, if not all. It's not necessary that it's only your accountant that has to know everything about tax. No, every other staffs, even your marketers, if you have, I'm just using that, you also need to encourage them to know tax. And in conclusion, I said relief or burden. So the question is this a relief to us or is a body to us? I'm saying that for private medical laboratory scientists, the 2025 Tax Reform Act is a dual reality, and they offer significant potential for financial relief, while they also introduce new compliance body. If you look at from those presentations, you will see some things I made mention that has to do with the e-invoicing on itself. I know how it's also how it's not really expensive anyway, depending on the size of your business and what system you currently have on ground. So the overall outcome, whether it's a net relief or a burden, will depend heavily on the operational readiness and strategic approach to compliance. Like I said, it is more expensive not to be compliant than to be compliant. Thank you very much. I think I'm going to stop here. And in case, like I said, in case you need us for further consultation, you want to consult us, or you need us to further do some professional work for you, maybe in terms of processing your tax clearance, you want to have your CITN, you want to generate you want to file your VAT or your withholding, whichever one you want us to do, you can always reach out to us and we'll be glad to assist you. So I think at this point, I'm going to be welcoming questions from us so that we can further discuss. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Oluwadamilare Abaton. At this point, I want to implore everyone to unmute, and then let's give a resounding applause for this beautiful presentation. Please, let's unmute our mics, and then let us give him a sounding applause, please.
Bah, 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 bah.
Let's go. Yeah. Thank you so much. Please, we can mute our mics again. Let's mute our mics. And then before we'll take the questions, if you have questions, please put them in the chat box. We'll be taking the questions strictly from the chat box. However, I want to recognize some of our leaders that are here present, and I cannot miss out my president in person of Associate Professor T.Y. Rahim. You are highly welcome, sir. I want to recognize some past chairmen of the association in the state. I think I saw the presence of Mr. Olumide Fadipe, the immediate past chairman. Here, let me also recognize, may I also say that Comrade Kabia Bolawo also joined us in the course of this presentation. We missed out on his opening remark, but we'll also have him talk to us before we close this session. Mrs. Yomi Newton, I recognize you. That's the president of the AFMLS. And all other distinguished senior colleagues and colleagues that are here, you are highly recognized. Please pardon me if I don't call your name specifically, but let me assure you that you are all recognized. He has given the lecture. Before we take the questions, it is also important that we note the intricacies that he has mentioned. And he has told us that this new tax regime is a double reality. So whether you are talking about a relief, yes, it's a relief, and we have seen the number of reliefs that he has enumerated. And it's also a burden because there are obligations for us to meet. And as I said earlier too, that ignorance is not a law. There are situations where you can get what we call presidential pardon. I can tell you that if somebody murders or kills the president of a country, the vice president takes the position of the president, and he can pardon the murderer. But there is no government that will pardon anybody who is trying to evade tax. There is no government. In fact, it seems to be the highest crime against the state. Okay, so it's that important, and we need to, it's something that we should not take with kids' glove. Okay, so, and then for us who are scientists, I know we already used the QMS, but this, we should realize that we are now having double QMS now, you know. The QMS in the laboratory, and then financial reporting QMS is also on our table. So, and he has also told us that documentation is key. And as we all know, that something that is not documented is not done. So we need to be abreast of all of these things. We need to take our documentation seriously. So take home is at 1. As we speak now, I think there is a deadline for bank accounts to have TIN that is attached to them. I don't know what it is, but I think it's in this coming month, by social date next month. If your account does not, you have not generated a TIN attached to your bank account, then that bank account may not be able to operate the bank account. And then he has also told us that they are available to help us with some of our bookkeepings. There is something we call tax avoidance, which is also lawful. So, and that is a situation where you try to argue out and see and give concrete reasons why you are not supposed to pay a certain tax liability. And that is different from tax evasion. That is you trying to be clever, you know, not to pay your tax liability. So there are two different. So as tax avoidance is legal, tax evasion, it's criminal. And he has also told us that tax officials are going to be very, very aggressive this time around, and which is true, as he has told us that the state arm of revenue service will be collapsed. So we are only relying on the federal, and because states will also be, you know, mounting pressure on the federal to get something that is due to them. So there's going to be a lot of aggression by tax audit officials and then revenue service officials, as it were. Then for our staff as well, payee, you know, I think he also mentioned that, but for every staff there must be a payee. But he has also told us that if your personal income or salary does not get to a particular level, then I think you may also not be able to. So I don't know if that PIT also translates to payee. I'm sure it would clarify that for us. Then number 2 is those of us that are salary earners. This exercise is actually tailored towards private medical laboratory scientists and those who have their private laboratories. But in the course of this discussion, I've seen that we have a number of our colleagues who are also in public service, who are salary earners. So it's also something that you will need to also tell us whether how government will be able to identify that this is a salary account and not one that comes from a business enterprise, as it were. Okay, so then okay, there's self-assessment too. He has told us that it is important that put our books together. So after he might have answered the question that we are coming up with, then we'll see how we are going to take this conversation to the next level. That is talking about action plan or actionable plan, as the case may be. So at this point, I want to look at the chat box and see the questions that are there. Okay. We have a number of them. I hope we'll be able to have the opportunity to take all of them.
Okay.
So somebody has asked that, will honorarium, or will you just take them, Mr. Abaton?
Okay, let's take
so,
them one after the other. Let's
okay,
just read it out. I'm going to be very fast with it.
okay. So will honorarium and gifts be taxed? That's the first question.
Okay, so for honorarium is going to be taxed. Then gift, when you say gift is not going to be taxed. Now, why? It's just like I have come to you today as a, let's say I'm presenting to you today, and maybe by privilege, you give me an honorarium. It's an income to me, right? So it's going to be taxed, but gift will not be taxed. Thank you.
Okay. So then, as you have told us that then if a gift comes into my own account, for example, then how would I be able to tell government that this is a gift, and not a revenue,
Okay, thank you so much for that wonderful question. During my presentation, I made mention of something. I said the way we do our transactions, how we present our transaction, we have to be very careful with it. If I need to call someone now and say, okay, send me money, if I need to send that very money to you, I'll use quick cash to be returned or to be refunded. So it has, it has to be indicates that this is a gift. It has to be indicate. Yeah, let's say this. Government doesn't believe in what you say. You can't tell government that, okay, this is a gift, and when they are saying something other way. So government will never believe that. So it has to be indicates, and that is why we need to be very, very careful. I keep on using the word, how we describe our transactions. It is very, very important. So
Okay,
you
thank
need
you
to
very much.
gift. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
it's all right. And I think that is why there is a space for narration for every transaction.
Exactly.
So all
Exactly.
this urgent 2K there, please let us put it, let's narrate it, that's what it is meant for. Okay. So, and as it has told us that it has to be real time. Okay. Not that an afterthought that, okay, no, it was this, it was that. So there are situations where somebody will tell you that, okay, please, can I have 200,000 that I'll give you back in 2 days time.
Yeah.
Probably even give the person the cash, and the person is returning it and sending it to your account. So that will be double taxation, because the first money you sent to that person has been taxed. So if he repays you, then you to be taxed again. So unless you get that narration rightly. Thank you very much for that beautiful answer. So the second question says, okay, that's a comment and an appreciation. Then the other one is an appreciation. Okay. So the next question says that which is more beneficial, incorporated or business name? Okay, I think that's a very good question.
Okay, so I would love to say that depending. For instance, if you are saying being incorporated, let's say it's a limited liability company, at that point, the owner of the business is being separated from the business, and you will be earning an income from that business. So what that means is that it is only the income part that if you happen to fall under small business, let's say your revenue and your fixed asset, your revenue is within the range of 100 million, while your fixed assets is within the range of 250 million as being stated in the law. So if you fall into that, which means that the tax you are going to pay is only going to be on what you recognize, what you earn as a person. Don't forget that you are detached from the business. So you are only going to pay income based on what was being allocated to you as an income. Then the profit for the year to that very business, you will not have to pay tax on it, except you exceed that threshold of 100 million. So if you are saying which one is more beneficiary, I would say that limited is beneficiary.
Okay, thank you. So in other words, if you have an enterprise, a business name, okay,
yes,
and then you have your turnover, your revenue, is it that the government would perceive that revenue to be a personal income.
No.
Okay.
So what will happen is this: if you have revenue as a business name or as an enterprise, if you have revenue, it is expected that all your expenses incurred and all your costs incurred on the business should be net off. Are we together, sir?
Please let
So
us mute our mics, please. We have finished clapping, so please mute your mics again. Thank you.
So it is expected that when you have your revenue, then all your expenses incurred at the cost of running the business will be removed from that revenue. Then the profit will make what you are expected to. I don't know if that answered the question, sir.
Okay, very well. Okay. So the next.
I'll send you help. Please mute your mic.
Okay. So the host, you can as well mute, and then how can one get the e-invoicing? I think you have answered that there are providers or merchants that have been licensed, okay, to do that.
FIRS,
so all we may need to do is to get their contacts and see how they can be engaged. So the next question says that, how does the new tax reform affect MLS in government employment? I think we have mentioned that, and
we've already answered.
Okay, do you have anything to say to that?
Okay, so in government employment, so which means that you are an employee to government, right?
Yes.
Right? So
yes,
at that point, you are employee of government. Salary is being paid to you. It is expected that government is going to file your returns for you, and also you are going to file your personal income tax aside from what government has filed for you. Let me quickly say this. Let's say, for instance, I'm working for company A, and company A declared that at the end of the year, what they have paid to me is 200,000, and all the necessary tax on that 200,000 has been remitted. It is expected of me as well to also, based on the state you have, so it is also expected of me to file my own income tax, because the government believes that aside what they have paid me, it is possible that I have also done or engaged in some sides also that have also make more money. So I also need to declare that as well and pay the tax on that very income. So irrespective of who employed you, you still need to file your own personal income. If you don't have any additional income aside what government has paid to you, you still have to fight exactly what government has filed for you. Because according to the way it works now, if you need to process your tax clearance, your company cannot do that for you. You have to be the one to do it. So if you have not filed your own personal income tax, let's assume you are in Lagos on e-tax portal, then you might not be able to generate your tax clearance certificate for the year. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you for the response. And let me also assure our colleagues who are in government or public service that this particular series of the webinar the scope is actually limited to private laboratory owners. But I want to assure you that in the coming series, there is something that is also targeted towards our public service colleagues. So please be on the lookout for that, and probably the convener would shed more light on that when it comes on board. Okay. So the next question says that, what should NGOs expect?
Okay.
Because some of our members who also run NGOs, who run foundations, and all that. Yes.
Wow, this is a very wonderful question that I love. I think I was listening to Mr. Oyedele Taiwo a few days ago. NGOs are being exempted from paying tax, right? But in this new tax reform, it's going to be very, very strict in the sense that there is going to be a kind of a thorough investigation on all NGO. For instance, there was a point that was raised that imagine someone that is running an NGO and is using NGO money to fly around the world, enjoying himself, making merries and so on and so. Such a person is no more, even though you are NGO and you have been investigated, and the government discovered that that money is not being used for the purpose, it's being used for your own personal interest, even though you register as a non-profit making organization, you are still going to pay that tax. So it's going to be more strict. That is why you also need to be ensured that all your financial details and record are properly kept so that when you are investigated, there won't be any exposure of liability. Thank you. But they are totally exempted from paying tax.
Okay, thank you. So is
Yes,
it possible to handle financial reporting or bookkeeping of a small enterprise without employing the services of an accountant?
Yes,
So, well, I would say that it is, and it is in the sense that depending on the
the size.
revenue, the size of the business, for someone that has less than 3, 4, 5, 10 million, might not really need to employ, but you also need to know the basic principle of accounting that will help you to keep a proper bookkeeping. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so apart from the health sector, will some other sector like education enjoy VAT free?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, so that's one of that question came from one of the participants. Okay, another,
Yeah.
and I think you also mentioned it that medical services,
Yes.
laboratory, medical laboratory,
Pharmaceutical.
pharmaceuticals,
Yeah.
schools,
Yes.
and some other essential services will be exempted from VAT. Yes, you did
Yes,
mention
sir.
that. Okay,
And I also
so
said that you can claim any input VAT you incurred.
okay. Okay. So in the course of doing your business, if you have also
Yeah,
paid VAT on
incurred.
some of the consumables or inputs into your own business, you can reclaim them from,
Exactly.
and that
The
can
law
only
give that
be
rule.
done if you have proper documentation. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mhm. So is it advisable for the already registered enterprise company to register a fresh limited liability company to benefit more?
Okay, I'll say that I don't think you need to re-register, but you might just need to upgrade. You might need to upgrade. You don't need to. I don't think you need to register afresh.
Mm.
I'm
Yes,
not sure. You can
yes,
upgrade.
I think you are right. So if you have registered, you can
Mm,
update. Okay,
no,
for
no, no.
example, you registered as a business enterprise. You can become a limited liability using the same
Yes,
registration, but you
exactly. You
have a
can
new
upgrade.
certificate. If you are
Mm,
a limited liability company and you have you have been listed on the stock exchange, then you can also
exactly.
become a PLC. So
Yes,
by
yes.
way of
Possible.
upgrading as well. Yes. Okay. So okay, we'll talk more about that when we come to the point of actionable plans. In the reality of the coming tax regime.
Yeah.
So, what is the consequence of under declaration of returns to a business owner?
Well, the consequence is it has already been stated that if you go through the slide I shared, that you are going to pay fine, and the file is going to be something that is very huge. You can see that I have 5 million plus over there. And imagine you are paying 5 million for something that you will have done correctly. So it's going to be very strict. So you have to be ensured whatever you need to do to be tax compliant. So you pay interest. You pay interest and penalty.
Okay. Well, Thank you very much. I think, so how will a business name be taxed? I think that has been answered. Is it advisable to have one account for 2 or more businesses, or better to have different accounts for each business?
It is better you have different account for each business.
Okay, it's all right. Thank you. Because and I'm sure you are talking from the angle that if you have multiple businesses and you have just one single account, then if, for example, you are being penalized or you are being sanctioned based on that account, it's going to affect all the business that are linked to that account. But if you have different accounts, so if one of it is being sanctioned, you will still be able to operate the other businesses with the other accounts.
Aside that, it's going to expose you to a lot of reconciliation when it comes to tax audit.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's advisable you have different accounts for each of the businesses. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So thank you very much for this wonderful time. And then I'm sure everybody is still resounding that the echo of the applause we gave the first time. And I also want to assure every participant here that by the time we are closing from this meeting, you will all be inducted as fellows of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria by virtue of this lecture that you have just had. Okay, because you can't have it better anywhere. You can't have it better. So moving from here, because it's good that we sensitize ourselves. It is good that we have this knowledge. However, I think we have come to the point of mentoring, because there's a huge, obligation and expectation. And for many of us, I know it appears to be a Hakunin tax, not because we don't have the capacity, but because maybe we have not been used to that. Okay, so it's not bench work. Okay, so, and it may also be costly, because you have also mentioned it, Mr. Abaton, that the cost of bookkeeping now, keeping the records straight and all of that will also be huge. Somebody asked that we need to have an accountant, but asking every laboratory to have an accountant or a tax consultant will also be a burden that we are trying to run away from in the next regime. Okay, so, and I want to believe that Mr. Kabiawu is here and is listening, such that when he becomes the next AMSIN Lagos chairman, it's something that he will want to work on to see how we can harmonize, this this responsibility, to see how laboratories can come together in cohorts, or in clusters, and then we have consultants or accountants attached to them, so that they can spread the liability, over all these laboratories, instead of each laboratory duplicating the same thing. So, and then since Mr. Abato has also volunteered that it is doable by virtue of his own capacity and then the platform where he also works, and I think it's something that we would work on, and then we'll be able to make sure that our members, have the best of time and the best of benefits, from this arrangement. So rather than even looking at the burden side of it, we'll enjoy the relief therefrom. So at this point in time, I want to call on the convener for his remark. It's supposed to be a closing remark, but since we missed the opening remark, it's going to be appropriate, maybe in 2 minutes. I think we still have my president in the room. If yes, I'll just want him to say a word, probably by way of encouragement or by way of goodwill. He's a big fish and he's in the room, so we want to hear from him. Then Comrade Kabia will come in and we'll bring this meeting to a close. Thank you. So Tiwa, if you are in the room, sir. Okay, I think
It's in Zauza room.
Okay, Zauza room. Okay, it's all right. Okay, I got that. So, Comrade Kabiawu, by way of vote of
Sorry,
thanks and
sir. He's
closing remarks.
around, though. Dr. Tiwaraim is here. He's still on the call.
Okay,
I can
okay.
see him here, sir.
So could it be that he's far away from his phone? My president, you may unmute yourself, sir. If you can hear me, we just want to hear a word of encouragement and then a goodwill message from you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, I am involved in 2 meetings simultaneously.
Okay, sir. I thought as much.
But this presentation is very dear to me, and I have listened to it from the beginning to this moment before I joined the other meeting. So I really want to commend the presenter for a very scholarly presentation. And he has come to the level of all of us that were participating in this call. I also want to commend the moderator. The moderator has been very excellent. He also demonstrated that he has a full understanding of the topic, and he was able to break down into smaller levels. So I commend both the presenter and the moderator. More importantly, I want to commend the convener of the webinar, our own KGB. When I saw you earlier today at NIMA, I realized that you are into a more serious business, and your team is very, very solid. So I want to commend you and want to say that even when you come on board as a chairman, this kind of program should be put on board on a regular basis. It is not only when we have physical meetings that we can share knowledge. So I want to commend your initiatives and pray that when you come on board as the state chairman, more of these innovative thoughts will be displayed. I want to thank all of us for giving me the opportunity to address the House. I thank you all. May God continue to bless all of us and our association. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, sir, for identifying with us and then for being able to multitask, attending 2 or 3 meetings at the same time and then without leaving any trace of deficiency anywhere. Thank you very much. We appreciate you for always being there. So at this point, we want to invite because we have just a couple of minutes left for this meeting, we want to invite the convener, the man of the moment, the visionary himself, a man that has full compassion, for the profession, who has sacrificed a lot and is still ready to spend and to be spent for this profession. Is a man that he has developed himself to a level that he can't stand in, for other people at any point in time. It's no other person than Comrade Gbolahan Kabiawu, popularly known as KGB. Please mount the podium and then and let us have your remarks. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Oladibu, for that wonderful introduction. I really appreciate your stance and efforts in moderating this webinar. You have done a yeoman's job. I really thank you for your a good assessment of the topic on ground. Let me, first and foremost, apologize for not being able to grant my opening remark. It was due to a technical glitch on my other phone. I had to join with another one so that I will be able to make this gathering. So I thank everybody here present for making out time to join us in this webinar. First and foremost, our former National President T.Y. Rahim, for your good words of rendition. And then I recognize Comrade Adego Kekende on this platform. And then the immediate past chairman, Mr. Olumide Fadikwe. I have noticed that I've seen some of my pastor guys in the midst, a fellow comrade in the house, Comrade Alaji Olatunji Tajudeen. We are highly recognized. And then I've seen the jugaments in the GLMLD. I recognize the National Vice President Southwest, the President Onone Olumiwa, and then the President GMLD Chairman, Bimade Adekoya. Abimbola. Thank you for joining this platform. And to my team, Vanguard, to the team Vanguard, my fellow aspirants in the race of AMSIN Lagos, I thank you for sharing this view with me, for sharing this view with us, that this is a webinar concocted not because we are not fully recognize the presence of our public medical lab scientists, but we want to show that as a public medical lab scientist that I practice in the public, that we will not be skilled towards recognizing the challenges of only those in the public sector. Rather, the issue of tax has been an issue that ever since I have been in the business of AMSIN Lagos, it's an issue that is in the front burner, and I have actively participated. And so I am using this platform to reassure us that come November 26th, when we assume the mantle of leadership, this webinar is not a flash in the pan. It's a continuous, it will be a continuous process that we are going to, we have established and we are going to maintain. And just like the moderator said, before I congratulate, give thanks and gratitude to the speaker on the moment, that's Mr. Daria Abaton, that has done a yeoman's job. I am sure, apart from demystifying some issues, she has really given us a lecture worth the while. It's a lecture that we are still trying to assimilate and still trying to get around it. And I know that there will be demands for another series of this lecture, probably to address other gray areas and probably to address the concerns raised by my other colleagues in the public institutions, that how is this tax regime affecting those that are government workers, those that are earning from the government circles. So these are issues that we will see raised. So I am sure that this webinar has been able to analyze the impact of tax regime on our daily on our private practice, and then the potential benefit. The potential benefit has been relayed to us. I for once, I take cognizance of the fact that VAT on equipment and or consumables that we get from vendors can be you can get relief from that. It's an eye opener, but in making your claims, he rightly said that we need to be cognizant of the kind of vendors that we patronize. Vendors that will be compliant to the new tax regime, that will keep their books in good order, so that we will be able to make that claims. And then he talked about, he emphasized so much on the narration of how we narrate our transactions, which I believe the moderator has even spoken at length on that. And so I want to assure you that this webinar is in two phases. We intend to have another one very soon. Not on taxation really, but we are going to have a webinar on pension and insurance. And I know that this cut across everybody, even the private practitioner, are not engaging what the pension fund relief now. And that's why for our private, my public colleagues in the public sector, we are going to host another webinar come November, second week in November, and it will be speaking directly to the new pension act, and then the various advantages and benefits we can accrue from our pensions. How do we do our contributory pensions that will be of benefit to us, and at the end of at the point of retirement, our severance package will be worldwide. Our gratuity will not be piecemeal or peanuts, because over time we have noticed that when we retire, or maybe not retire into penury, that what we are taking home actually cannot take us home. So these are issues that we need to really speak to, so that the sole purpose of any association is to cater for the welfare of our member, and which is paramount to me and my team, the Team Vanguard. And that's why we want to assure you that this webinar is not a flash in the pan. It's a webinar, just like the TY and my moderator said, is a webinar to be sustained throughout the course of our tenure. God willing, when we assume the mantle of leadership, we will make sure that we sustain this tempo, and then we'll be able to enlighten our members adequately on all topical issues relating to us as individuals, relating to us as professionals, that are relating to us as business owners, so that we will not be found wanting. And because there's no ignorance, there's no excuse, there's no ignorance in law. When you are found culpable, you are culpable. So we need to take cognizance of that. So I want to thank my tax consultant. He has given us a leeway, an open window, that we can call on him at any time. And this, we want to assure you that we would definitely do that as an association in Lagos State, whose welfare of the member is paramount to us. We will garner our resources together. We will do our consultation in clusters, just like my moderator has said, and we will get back to you for adequate briefing, so that we will not be found culpable or found wanting. I want to thank all the participants of this webinar, and I'm sure we have been highly informed and not deformed. And for clarity, if you still need any questions or any any clarity that you need on this topic, I want to make my remark brief, so that it could allow for more questions to be answered by the moderator. Thank you very much for being part of this webinar. We are assuring you that as Team Vanguard, as a lead of that Team Vanguard, we will always ensure that the welfare of our member is paramount to us. Thank you so much. Over to you, my moderator.
Yes, thank you very much, the convener, Comrade Kabiawu Bolahan, for that assurance. And as you have said, that it's not just a talk show, we are also ready for action. So if I have your permission, the convener, that we begin the action right away. The next tax regime is just around the corner. It's just a couple of days away. And then I think it's high time we begin to, put action, our talks into action, And I want to suggest, if it is permitted, that maybe Ms. Bumi Salami put a number on the chat box, and then let people who are a WhatsApp number, and let's begin to form a platform to begin to address these things. Many laboratories don't have good keeping habits, okay? And that is the starting point. So for every business, there should be a cash flow account, there should be the profit and loss account, there should be a balance sheet, So these are things that the tax auditors will be interested in. So, and I'm sure many do not have, and if they have, it may not be something that is bankable or that it conforms to minimum standards. So in the light of that, I think we need to start from there. And since Mr. Abato is with us, and he has also given us his word that is ready to, work with the association or work with our members to see that we cross that river Rubicon. And then if you don't take that action, it will just be talk, and then motion without movement. So I want to suggest that as from this night, if Ms. Bumi Salami can put a WhatsApp number on this in the chat box, so people will be expected to chat her up, put your name, your practicing address, your RARF, and say, I am interested. So that we begin to form, the baseline for this action that is ahead, and then we can walk everybody through by way of mentoring and holding people by the hand, to cross this Rubicon. So if that is taken, I think we can move ahead with that. Mr. Convener, what's your opinion on that, please?
The motion is granted.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Mr. Larry, please, on the chat box, so let us copy the number on the chat box. She'll put our WhatsApp number there, and then let everyone that is interested, please, you send your name, your practicing address, your RARF number, and you say, I am interested, so that we can begin to, constitute that platform into mitigating and against this reality that is ahead of us. Okay, so on that note, okay, thank you. So Ms. Bumi Salami's number is already there. If you don't have it, you can just screenshot our number, and then you can do the needful afterwards. So let's do that between now and then the next 48 hours. So I can assure you that in the next 48 hours, action will begin on this subject matter. Thank you very much. And for our members in the public service, as the convener has said, that something is coming up on pensions and insurance, okay? And then we also have something to do with home front and family affairs. That will also be another series, one of the series that will be coming up. And as we have said, that is going to be sustained. So on this note, we want to appreciate everyone that has been part of this, for everyone that has contributed. The presenter, we cannot thank you enough. And I want to assure you that it's the beginning of greater things to come. It's the beginning of a greater collaboration and then synergy that is going to catapult us into greater heights. So thank you very much, everybody. I know you must have had a long day, and then you deserve a quick, sweet night rest. So on that note, I want to say good night, everybody, and then enjoy your night. Thank you all.
Thanks, sir.
Thank
you. And our host,
Thank you, sir.
Hosted all the way from Ibadan. Our host is in Ibadan, and he has really done a great job. And that is one of those MMS facilities. We thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Peters.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Good night.